These writing challenges work best if you already have a work in progress. It can be helpful at any point in the work in progress, whether you're outlining, writing the first draft, or you're on your third draft. These challenges are designed to improve your craft and give you feedback on the strength of your writing, especially dialogue. These challenges are particularly good for novel writing, but they may work for novellas and short stories as well. If you only have an outline, you can do these exercises by writing scenes from your outline, even if it isn't the first scene. You may also write a scene you haven't outlined yet for the sake of these exercises. Take a scene in your novel and delete everything except the dialogue. Can you tell who's talking? How can you tell? This writing challenge is designed to give you feedback on the strength of your dialogue. Do this with as many scenes as you'd like. If you can't tell who's talking, it may be a sign that you need stronger, more distinguished character voices. If you're only outlining and haven't written a scene yet, I recommend writing one scene you have outlined, make a copy with only the dialogue, leave it for 24 hours to give yourself space, then come back and reread the dialogue-only copy to test the strength of your character voices. You may be surprised to see the results. Remember, the scene doesn't have to be final draft quality to do this exercise. This actually works really well if you're still in a work in progress. It's for improvement purposes to strengthen your character voices. The dialogue exercise works best in scenes with lots of dialogue. If you don't have a scene like that, take several scenes you've written, delete everything except the dialogue, and try the exercise that way. This exercise can be really fun if you use at least one argument scene. Try out different scenes where characters are in different environments, conflicts, and feeling different emotions. Reading your dialogue aloud can help you hear who is talking and if the sentences make sense or if they're clumsy and unnatural. If you're struggling to figure out how to write stronger character voices, pick up a book you like. Type or write all the dialogue in a scene. Read it aloud. Can you distinguish who's speaking? How? What qualities does the speaker have to distinguish themselves? You may also do this if you take scripts from movies you enjoy. Oftentimes, scripts have particularly strong examples of good dialogue. Reviewing scripts can help you study and practice writing dialogue for your manuscript. It's unnecessary for every character to sound completely different. However, it's still possible even for similar characters to have distinct voices. Whether it be through words or phrases they frequently use, what they're talking about, how they see the world, their values, their motivations and goals, or many other factors that contribute to their voices. Some people speak in short, concise sentences. Others ramble. People who soften their language will often use words and phrases like, well, and I think, and sound polite or emotionally detached. Others are blunt and straightforward. Do your characters change word choices when happy, sad, or angry? Some people appeal strongly to emotion when they speak. Others stick to facts. Some are jokesters, sarcastic, or dripping with dry humor. There are many examples of character voices, so reread scenes from your favorite books and take notes. Where the character grew up in their educational background and their interests may also influence the way they talk. Someone who grew up in Brooklyn may speak a bit differently from someone who grew up somewhere in the Midwest or Florida, what have you. Someone who dropped out of high school may speak a bit differently than someone who went to college, but that may not always be the case. It's just something to keep in mind when you're trying to distinguish your character voices. Also, a teenager might speak a bit differently from an adult, same with children. They probably all speak a bit different just depending on their ages. This is the said is not dead writing exercise. For this next exercise, take a scene, ideally a scene with a lot of dialogue, and only use said. Eliminate every instance of other words like whispered, yelled, shouted, murmured, declared, stated, and more. You can do this by copying a scene you've written into a new document so you could freely edit it. If you wrote it by hand, you could just copy it down in another one or just use your pen and kind of eliminate the other words and just write said. Reread the scene now that all of those words are replaced with said. How does the scene feel? You may find that said is the best choice in many instances where it wasn't used. Said isn't dead. Other words are allowed and I encourage you to use them when it's appropriate. Sometimes words other than said in the dialogue tag are unnecessary, even distracting. A lot of times, you don't even need a dialogue tag at all. Have you ever read a scene where the word said is never or sparingly used? A scene where everyone is shouting, screaming, whispering, murmuring, declaring, ordering, and stating? How does it make you feel? it's likely more effective to use said in some of those dialogue tags. Said is so effective because it blends into the story. It doesn't distract readers from what is being said and what is happening in the scene. That allows for flow and great energy. Interruptions in flow decrease energy. Synonyms of said are best used intentionally, not only to use a word other than said. Sometimes these synonyms are overused. I get it, the characters are in a screaming match. Reading, he screamed, she screamed, he shouted, she shouted gets redundant and it loses meaning or power sometimes. There are a few ways to revise for this issue. Sometimes dialogue tags are unnecessary. In a screaming match between two people, it should be fast-paced, so you don't need to tag who is speaking every single time. Also, you can forego said and other synonyms and use actions or imagery instead. You establish that they're screaming. Show tears running down her face, his face burning red. She's throwing things at him. He's backing her into a corner. They're physically attacking each other. Her fists are clenched, his arms are crossed. She's trembling. He avoids looking at her. She's staring directly into his eyes. The scene will feel more immersive if you implement this strategy from this challenge. Keep in mind the pace as well. If they're arguing, it's likely the scene is fast-paced, so don't include too much action or imagery between dialogue. This also depends on your point of view character. The personality will influence the action, imagery, and sensory details. Why are they arguing? If the arguing in your viewpoint character is Jane, she may know exactly why she's furious. If your viewpoint character is John, he may be unaware of why Jane is furious. Consider this when doing this exercise for your scene. Scenes can have all sorts of emotions though. It may not be a fast-paced argument scene. Other times it's still possible for characters to talk without dialogue tags being necessary every time, no matter the mood. Usually, said is best. Other types of dialogue tags are the exception and should be used intentionally. This next writing challenge involves writing a whole new scene. You're going to write a scene with only dialogue. Ideally, you're only going to have 2 characters in this scene because there aren't going to be no dialogue tags. So 2 distinct characters are usually best for this challenge. The scene involves 2 characters, no narration, no dialogue tags. The challenge in writing this is making 2 distinct character voices as you write. You should know who's speaking at all times. Decide for yourself what the best circumstances for this scene is. It could really be about anything. The characters should be speaking pretty fast. Like I said, no lengthy monologues. Some writing challenges will say they should only be able to get in 5 words each, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. That's usually what happens in argument exercises. But if you want to do a challenge where they can only get in a certain maximum amount of words every time, that can work too. Depends on what you want to do. One of the core parts of this challenge is there's no narrative context. There's no dialogue tags, so you have to have distinct voices. And you have to avoid info dumping. If you don't want to do an argument scene, you could have the characters discussing something sort of mundane. And a big part of this challenge is what is not said. The subtext. The things they're avoiding talking about. That can be a really good way to get to know your characters better and strengthen your dialogue. A lot of writers make the mistake of their characters just explicitly saying everything. Master the art of subtext and your readers will love you. Seriously, readers love subtext, and that includes in dialogue. Even in real life, people don't always say exactly what they mean all the time. In fact, a lot of the times people do not explicitly say every single thing they mean. And especially, people do not use therapy speak in real life most of the time. So why are your characters using therapy speak all the time? It's just not natural. Write a dialogue exercise where characters are in conflict, but they must make a decision fast. This scene should be fast-paced, high energy, high tension, and short. There's a time limit, so it can't run on too long or readers will start wondering what's taken so long. This scene could be high stakes as well, but it doesn't have to be. Here's a list of situations they might be in where they make a decision fast. Stakes vary, but even if it's low stakes, the conflict should still feel real and both characters must want the opposite thing. At the end, there should be a resolution. The conflict could be purchasing a car. both of them want different cars, or one of them really wants one particular car and the other one really doesn't want it. The two characters must decide what to buy at the grocery store while on a budget. What kind of food should they prioritize? Is one of them a really good bargain hunter or couponer? Both characters are on a trip, deciding what activity to do next. Some activities may be, going to the beach, hiking, shopping, on a tour to a museum or historic site, whale watching, and more. Get creative with it. Characters must decide which restaurant to go to for a meal. This could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Part of this can really reflect their personality or things they prioritize. Like one person might really want to go to one restaurant because there's a value menu or they have some sort of gift card or something for it. The characters are at a pet adoption event. How are they going to decide whether or not to adopt a pet? Does one of them really want a pet and the other one doesn't? Why or why not? Are they in conflict over which pet to adopt? How will they argue to come to a resolution? One character was given a job offer. This job offer has various benefits and downsides. The job requires them to move far away. This works even if characters aren't in a romantic relationship. This could be a conflict between friends, siblings, or a parent and child. There are reasons why the other person may not want the other character to move far away, even if there are benefits like higher pay or it's their dream job. The other character may also not want to move with them, like if they have to move together, possibly like romantic partners or a parent and a child. These two characters must decide where to go on a trip. It's best if the characters want to go to wildly different locations for this trip. If it's winter, one may be aching to go somewhere tropical for sunshine and beaches. The other may really want to go skiing in the mountains. One character may want to go on a trip to a city like New York City or Chicago, tour a bunch of museums and try the food there, or maybe even see a sports game or concert. The other character may want a more relaxing vacation, like to the beach or a national park to go hiking. Similar to the other vacation ones, in this prompt the characters are on a road trip. They must decide where to stop next. This road trip can be anywhere. Where each character wants to go and what activity they'd like to do shows some part of their personality and interests. These two characters are taking a long car ride, but they can't agree on what music to listen to. They should want to listen to different genres or artists. How will they come to a compromise? How will they argue for who gets to pick the music first? What argument will they make? Depends on your characters. If you're writing a fantasy story, there's probably a call to action. One character wants to listen to the call and go. The other character either doesn't want to go, or they don't want the first character to go, depending on the plot of your story. One character's sick. The other person is trying to take care of them. The sick character is reluctant to be taken care of. This could be for a variety of reasons depending on your character. They may not want to be taken care of, period. They may not want to look weak. They may be in denial that they're sick. They may not want to do treatment like rest and take medicine. It can be fun if you flip the dynamics so your strong character who takes care of others is the sick one, where your character who may be taken care of more has to be the caregiver. Flipping character dynamics can be really interesting for you and your readers. A high-stakes action scene. Characters are arguing about how to resolve this conflict and get out of danger. They could be in a fight with an antagonist. There could be a dangerous situation, like they're hostages in a bank heist or they're caught in a burning building. The burning building could be particularly interesting if one character is highly motivated to save someone trapped in the building. This could be a person, a pet, or a belonging they care about deeply. The other character doesn't necessarily need to be evil for not wanting to save whatever is in the burning building. They may be in a situation where it's extremely dangerous to try to get whatever is trapped. There could be firefighters on scene they could go to for help if they're able to escape. There's a myriad of dangerous situations you could put your characters in and conflicts they may have. In a fantasy story, there may be a magical object the characters argue about. They may both want this object. They may argue about how to use it or keep it safe. They may argue about if it's right or wrong to use this magical object. This magical object may be key to solving an issue, but it was stolen or it's highly dangerous, so it may not be morally right to use it to resolve their issue. Two characters are arguing about which important event happening at the same time that they'll attend. This could be a couple, friends, siblings, a parent and child, etc., whatever the dynamic is. It depends on the circumstances of your story. Important events happening at the same time could be a wedding, a funeral, a graduation, a dance recital, a play, a sports game, and more. For example, they could be a couple and their child's championship game is at the exact same time as their other child's dance recital. How will they choose who goes to which event? It could also be siblings and their close mutual friend is getting married on the same day, same time as the college graduation of their other sibling who doesn't know the first friend. How will they decide what to go to? Will they attend different events or stick together? This exercise shows how characters settle conflict, how they argue, their personality and interests, their temperaments, their beliefs and goals, and more. It shows character relationship dynamics as well. In some situations, you may also be able to flip the argument for the characters. There may be a turning point in the scene where they start arguing for the opposite of what they originally wanted. I have a few bonus challenges. These don't require as much explanation. You could probably get the gist of it based off the rest of this video. So 1. Write a scene where the characters are in a major conflict, but they won't talk about it directly with each other. Let it be shown in the subtext what major issue they're in conflict about. 2. Write a scene about 2 characters who are about to be executed. They can't talk directly about their impending death or why they got the death penalty. 3. Write a dialogue scene with a specific tone. The tone could be sad, upbeat, calm, angry, tense. Really lean into other elements of writing like imagery, energy, and tension here. It'll really elevate your story. And 4. Write a dialogue scene between 2 or more people where they need to get out. This could be a high-stakes, dangerous situation or a low-stakes situation like an escape room. Which challenges do you find most interesting? Have you tried these challenges before or similar challenges? Try these challenges out and let me know if you notice any improvement. These exercises can help you target your weak spots to strengthen your dialogue, or they may simply be fun practice. Comment, like, and subscribe for more videos like this. Have a wonderful rest of your day.